Welcome back to our class. In our previous two classes, as we began looking at the alphabet of the Greek New Testament, or at least just of the Greek letters, we covered at least quite a number of the letters. And so welcome back to learning the New Testament Greek. And if you remember, if you've attended the first two lessons, then you know that this is the book that we are studying. Learn to Read New Testament Greek by David Alan Black. It's a great book, very interesting book, and I'm hoping that you will learn from it, right? And so, just a recap of the letters that we've already covered. We saw the alpha and the beta, the gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, and eta. And so we will pick on from there. I want to share my screen in a bit so that actually we can do some typing or do some writing as we remind ourselves. All right, so we have this in the corner right here. And so remember we saw the alpha, right? And we as when you look at the content, if you remember, we have the way that these letters are written in the uppercase, what you'd call the capital letters, and how it's written in the lowercase, what you call the small letters, and then it's equivalent. And so you remember the alpha, right? In the uppercase, it's just like that, just like it appears in the English alphabet, uppercase A. And the lowercase is, it's like the print for the English print for the old font style. And that's how the lowercase alpha is written, which of course is equivalent to the English A, right? Or that. All right. And then we, of course, also got to the beta. Again, just a reminder, beta and the uppercase, or what you call the capital letter, is just as the uppercase for English B is, right? It is just like that. Now, when you're writing the lowercase r, if you remember, and again, I'm just doing this for a recap, it's similar to how this is, but it's in a way different. And part of the difference is, you notice how this sharp corner is not there, it's a curve, but then it has a tail. And with it, when you're writing, you write by beginning with the tail. And so you begin with that tail, bring something like this, and do that curve, and then do another curve. You get it? Like that. So that's how the lowercase is written. So you notice very similar to how it is in the uppercase, but the difference with it is in the curve, the sharp curve disappears, the sharp corner here disappears, and it has a tail. And when you're writing, you begin with the tail, and then you do the two curves, and that is equivalent to the English B, or what you'd write as B in the lowercase, that. Okay, so alpha, beta, and gamma. Now, gamma is the one that at least we saw was very different. And the difference in it is that gamma is like you're writing seven, but the mirror of seven. And of course, we write seven like this, right? Now, think of this on the upside, mirrored. And so the uppercase for gamma is written like this. That is the uppercase for gamma. Okay. Now the lowercase for gamma is almost very close to the English letter Y, because of course, when you look at the English letter, so the English letter Y right? You see something like that. Now that's exactly how the uppercase for gamma, I mean the lowercase for gamma is, all right? And so you get to see a slight difference. You see the slant, and it's very different. And so think of this curve, all right, and then something like this. So it, in a way, it's part, this part is a bit curved, and then this part is a bit straight. And so, of course, a lot of time people write it like this. All right, you begin with the curve, and you get to complete and take it from down. All right, so that is gamma, and of course that's equivalent to the English G, or what we write as, you know, that G. Okay, so alpha, beta, gamma, then delta, and we saw that delta is the uppercase is written like the like a triangle, right? And so something like this. So just draw a triangle. That you already have your delta, uppercase delta. Now, in writing the lowercase, if you remember, the lowercase is like you're writing an S and giving it a curve. It's like, let's write what we know as the English S. It's like doing this. Now, this is at least as close to the English S, right? But instead of stopping that you bring this curve, okay? Write the English S and bring this curve and complete. You getting? Write the English as and bring the curve. Write the English as and bring the curve. Okay, you're getting? So that's how delta is. So the only the difference is that the this part here of the S would be just like how this one is slightly bent down. But I think you get the idea. The English S, something like that, and then instead of stopping, you complete the circle and have an A. So at the end, it's like you have a balloon with a string tied to it. Like you have this balloon, right? But then you have, you know, a string, a rope tied to it. Okay, so that is how you know, delta lowercase is written. And so let's erase this one. Let's erase this one. This one. Okay, I think you get the idea of how the delta lowercase is written, and that is equivalent to what you know as D, or what we write as that letter. Okay, so alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and then we have epsilon, right? And so again, all of this has, you know, the sound it brings is like the sound of the first letter. And so alpha, all right, beta, gamma, so double M, A, alpha, beta, gamma, delta, the E, L, T, A, and then alpha, beta, gamma, delta, and then the next one is letter epsilon. Ep, not epsilon, it's epsilon. After the P, there's so AP, S-I-L-O-N. That's the name. That's what I just wanted to write it there. Anyway, so now epsilon, the uppercase for epsilon is exactly equivalent to the English. It looks like, at least when you use, looks exactly like the English E. So exactly like the English uppercase. That is epsilon uppercase. Exactly. I think you can tell there's no difference whatsoever with that, right? Now, the lowercase is almost like that, different, just slightly different. And the difference in it is, think of this uppercase, but then eliminate this corner, these sharp corners, and give it a curve, a smooth curve, and eliminate these sharp corners. Or think of something like you're writing a C, a letter, English letter C, and then giving it a cut in the middle. Let's undo that. So think of writing a C and then give it a cut, or it's like you are writing the other E and then you've just eliminated the curve, right? So the way you see, the way, just the difference with it is just in the fact that it does not have the sharp corners, right? It does not have the sharp corners. That's the only difference. But so at least this one, you will not struggle with remembering epsilon. So it's equivalent to the English E, something that we know as like that, right? So at least this is, we've gone this far: alpha, beta, gamma, delta, epsilon, and then we get to the next letters, which is zeta and eta and theta, right? And so zeta, when you look at zeta, letter Z, what we call zeta, the uppercase is exactly like what the English letter Z is. And so the next letter is zeta. Sorry, let me undo that one. So the name is zeta, Z-E-T-A. Like that, that is zeta. Now, the way it's written is the uppercase is exactly just like the way it appears in the English. That is how zeta is in the English. However, the lowercase is very unique. It's one of the different, the unique letters, one of the few unique letters in the Greek alphabet, something that does not have any equivalent to what we know and have in English. Because with the lowercase zeta, it's like you are writing the English small, like writing an L slanted, and think of something like this. You're writing that L, but then give it this curve, all right? But then you give it like an ear here, okay? You're getting, think of writing something like this, like you're writing a slanted B, but you don't complete the curve, and then you give it a here. You're writing a slanted B, you don't complete the curve underneath, you give an ear, all right? You write a slanted B, and then you give it an ear. You write a slanted B, all right, you give it an ear. So that is what zeta lowercase is. So it's like you're writing that B and you are giving it an ear. You're writing it, okay? You get it? So, and so at least this is one of those that you will need to take time in practicing, one of those letters that you need to take time in practicing. But I hope you get and you're reminding yourself, but also learning in the process. And so the next letter is eta, which is ETA. well, it's not like how we use ETA. It's not the expected time of arrival, but that's the ETA. It's the name of another letter, and this letter sound different and looks different because in the uppercase, what you are going to find, you'll find something like an English H, something like this. Now, what you find is this that looks like an H is not an English H. Sorry, guys, there's too much noise in the background, and I think I'm going to have to pause the class right now. All right, so ETA, let's complete ETA, and so when you find something like this is not actually an H. It is English equivalent of E, and so I forgot to put that this is the equivalent of letter Z. And so ETA, written like that, the lowercase is like you were writing an N but with a tail. So think of something like an English N, right? At least that looks close to an English N, but then give this a tail. You remember what, like when we're writing beta, that you give the beta tail. So when you're writing eta lowercase, that is what you do. So like you're writing something close to the English N, but with a tail. And that is equivalent to the English E as well. But this one would be the E that you'd have with a bar on top, or the E written like this. All right, and we're going to find how that is used later on. All right, so we've covered so far, we've reminded ourselves of what we've done, and we've introduced, at least we've gone as far as ETA. And then, so now we pick and we introduce, at least we're going to introduce 3 new letters so that we learn. So ETA, so hopefully this already helps remind you of the things you've learned. And so we get to theta. Some of you have done math. Hopefully you remember this letter, theta. And theta, it's if you did math or chemistry, then you at least you know what theta is. It's like you have the English O, and then there's bar cross like that. On the difference with the lowercase theta is that it is more oval. It's like you have an oval shape, but still with that cut. So you notice the difference is this one is more circular shape with the cut, but then the lowercase is more oval but with a cut. And this is equivalent to the English THE, TH. Right? Equivalent to that. So this one letter alone is equivalent to the TH. All right, that means you're not going to find an H. When you find something like this, that looks like an H, we already said it's not an H. It's eta. It's a different letter altogether. And we introduce iota. All right, so iota, the next letter. And iota, it's simple. That one's very simple. Written just like that, just like the English I, uppercase, and the lowercase is just like the English lowercase. Difference. Let me first undo that. The difference between the lowercase iota and the English lowercase I is that the English lowercase would have a dot. Now, once you have something like this, you no longer have, once you write your iota like this, but then include a dot, it's no longer a Greek alphabet, it is an English alphabet. So it looks exactly like that, but it does not have the dot on top. right? And so aorta is for the English I, it's equivalent to the English I, or this in the lowercase, what you'd have as a with a dot. And let's do kappa, and then we'll stop there. For now, at least we will have introduced 3 new letters: theta, aorta, and kappa. And so, of course, kappa, it's again, you will discover that the name, the sound, has the sound of the letter springs from the sound of the first uh, letter of the name, and within the uppercase is just like the English uppercase for K, and the lowercase you just make it kind of smaller in size, and so this is just like aorta, is not difficult at all, and so it's equivalent to the English K, and you just write the differences in the size of the letters. That being said, because these two are pretty much easier, I'm going to introduce the last one for today, which is lambda. Again, you probably remember this one from math as well, physics, I think. Lambda, and uh, the English equivalent of the letter L, but how it's written. So remember when we were writing delta, we said you write a triangle, right? Now for lambda, think of a triangle, but with an empty base, right? So if we were writing delta, we would do something like this, remember? Now think of something like this, but then that you eliminate and delete this base here, like from somewhere here, you delete it, okay? So that is what lambda is like. So we are writing that, and of course we kind of like giving it a base, like giving it a support there. That is what the uppercase lambda is, and the lowercase is you're doing something like this and then giving it a support. So there's something like that. Slanting is like it's about to fall, and then you give it a leg support to stand. Okay, you get that. So that is lambda. It's equivalent to the English L. All right, so that's it, guys, for this lesson. We'll continue practice these things for now as we continue with the Greek alphabet, and after that we will introduce new topics and new lessons altogether. All right, so we've reminded ourselves of the alphabets that were covered in the previous 2 lessons, and we've introduced 4 new alphabets. That is theta, aorta, kappa, and lambda. So practice this, and we will pick on from there with other alphabetical letters in the next lesson. All right, see you.